Yes, no intro. I had something great that I was going to say.
Yes.
Something like really interesting. It was going to be one of those like, patented out of nowhere. What the hell are you talking about? But then it turns into a great point type of things.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think I can vamp any longer to try to
spontaneously
come up with something.
Okay.
But I forgot what it was.
I'm sorry to hear that.
There's a lot of pressure, but it's on you now.
Whoa. Wow. I don't know. It's
Me, Mario?
Yeah, it's me, Mario, and I feel bad for Leonard Cohen because his song Hallelujah is just being used for some really
It's everybody's
crappy
song,
things.
though, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah,
It's not his song anymore.
I guess, but beautiful, beautiful song, and being used for crappy movies and nefarious, horrible excuses for a president. So,
if you don't, if you're Zack Snyder and you don't come out and say anything, then what? And you shouldn't have to.
No,
and he's not going to.
He's not going to.
But
he to be fair, he used it first.
As somebody who I am not sure about this guy.
Uh-huh.
Isn't he? Didn't we figure out somehow that his favorite book is The Fountainhead, and all this sort of thing?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but
no, that doesn't put him, in like the Trump camp. In fact,
no.
It should put him very far out of it. But things being the way they are, we don't know, and so it would be really great if. And we talked about this on Just Enough Trope last week. I can't remember, but we have addressed the why. Why Zack Snyder? Just get a new 8-track cassette of something.
Oh, yeah. We talked about it.
For Christ's sake.
Yeah. Yep.
But how it's not about that, about how it's a statement from him.
Yes. I'm back, baby.
Sure.
Yeah.
As far as it's, I think it's a much deeper statement for Zack Snyder than it would or could be for Trump. And he didn't pick that music. His campaign did. And maybe somebody in his campaign thought, people are going to be saying hallelujah when they get 4 more years of Trump. It might have gone that
Show me
deep.
who.
It might have gone thimble deep.
Yeah.
But since it's your favorite song, and now when I hear that song, I just think of Zack Snyder's tribal tattoos.
Yeah.
If you own that song now, from a cinematic perspective, I'd expect to hear you tweet something. I can hear him typing right now. Just see a tweet from him like, well, all right. Or just like being interviewed as I'm sure he's being, in post-DC fandom. Just saying something like, that didn't work out great. Or just, I'd like to hear something that I would consider positive from you. But because I don't have any faith in you, all this is directed at Zack Snyder.
I know it is. I know you're not talking to me.
I'd much rather beat up on Zack Snyder than Donald Trump. Because I haven't heard anything and I don't expect to, that's just not great.
No, it's not. It's just more disappointment, honestly. And I don't know. I
want to see a blue, naked Donald Trump, Dr. Donald Manhattan.
No. Don't put that on Dr. Manhattan.
Put it in Watchmen, the remaster.
No. Oh, gross.
You see, I've got a lot of powers.
Ew.
Some people say they're the best powers.
I read something that, it was talking about the RNC and, talking about how...
Oh, no, this isn't a political show.
I know it's
Come
not.
on.
But they were, saying, that all the speakers were talking about how horrible it is and how we want 4 more years with
all
this guy in charge. All the speakers
who are biologically related to the president or married to people who are those speakers?
Yes.
I was just double checking.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, anyway, before we go any farther into the realm of politics, let's probably just talk about our films that we're talking about for today. You won the toss for the 20th time in a row. And so we're talking about your film first. What film did you pick?
I picked Charade. It stars...
Is it Charade or Charade? Because I think it's Charade, but I think both main characters in this film would say charade. Don't you?
Probably. I could see that, but they're fancy.
I've had enough of this charade.
Yeah. I always thought it was Charade. I don't know. But it stars Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck. And So this was on my list. I'm a big Audrey Hepburn fan, and I was sitting there thinking, like, I think she is super classy, and I just really like her. But after viewing this movie,
give it all away. Give it all away.
No, I'm not going to give it all.
In the intro, give it away. Go.
No, I'm not going to give it all away.
That's what you do.
No, will you let me talk?
Would I let you give it away? Fine, go ahead.
I think a lot of that stems from my love of the film My Fair Lady specifically. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Which should have been Julie Andrews.
Yeah, you think you told me that.
She got back with Mary Poppins, though.
Yeah.
She got him back.
Yeah. But so yeah, this was on my list. Why don't you give us a brief?
Oh, okay, sure.
I'm throwing it to you.
Reggie Lampert is a, I don't know, she's a bored American expatriate.
Yeah.
And she and her husband, she doesn't really know what he does. He's secretive. They don't really get along.
Yeah.
And she decides she's going to divorce him at the beginning of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Before she can pull the trigger on that, she finds out that he has been murdered and thrown off a train in his pajamas.
Yes.
And the French police want to know what connection she has, what she thinks is going on with it. She's approached at his funeral by 3 different characters,
yes,
tough guys, who all seem to know her husband. And she's also has a bunch of run-ins, chance meetings with a character, I won't even give you his name because it don't matter, played by Cary Grant.
Oh, Cary Grant. Why did I say Gregory Peck?
Because that's Roman Holiday, but that's okay. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
And so over the course of the film, she is alternatingly threatened by these men and begins to fall in love with Cary Grant's character, who becomes sort of a sidekick or co-conspirator of hers. They all want the money. It turns out that Charlie had a lot of money that they all want. And a lot of money is $250,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
U.S. dollars.
U.S. American dollars.
Right.
The lowest stakes I can think of.
Yes.
And I mean, I won't, if we're going to talk about the film, but if you haven't seen it, we're not going to go blow by blow through it, so I won't ruin anything else. But let's just say Cary Grant's not who he thinks he is, and people start dropping like flies. Flies who are wearing pajamas.
Yes.
It's Charade.
Yeah.
The best Hitchcock movie that Hitchcock never made, according to somebody who needs to take their medication.
Wow.
Adapted from Peter Stone's short story, The Unsuspecting Wife, adapted by Stone himself, and remade in the early aughts as The Truth About Charlie.
What?
with Tandy Newton and Mark Wahlberg.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, I bet that's awful.
Tim Robbins in the Walter Matthau role. And probably probably Common is one of the heavies. Or maybe it was a little too early for Common.
It's probably too early for Common,
yeah.
but yeah.
It's always too early for Common.
Should get that as a t-shirt.
Why give him the exposure?
Wow. So I was really looking forward to this film, and I feel like it started off fairly strong, but I gotta say I didn't enjoy it as much as I was hoping I would. Maybe that's me being kind. I think that this movie tries really hard to be very clever and witty and funny, and there's a lot of back and forth and like banter between the two leads, which is fine. And I don't mind the plot like twists and turns, and that's cool. I'm fine with that. It's a mystery. There's all these twists. Cool, fine, awesome.
Is it cool?
Yeah, this is what I absolutely what kind of to me made the movie go to a halt. I don't buy the romance like at all. I don't understand. I don't think this is giving it away. Like you said, he's not who he says he is at the very beginning, and we find out multiple times he's not who he says he is.
What I want to know
and
is,
it's like, why does she think she can trust this guy?
When he shows up in Paris and on the Champs-Élysées, like, okay, we understand at that point that he's got some connection to trying to find the money, but why do they meet at the ski resort in the first scene? Was he already
following her?
He was already sort of
Yeah.
ahead of the game and
Yes.
like, you know, checking into her.
Yes.
Okay, well, still. It's weird.
That's what I think. And yeah, I just don't understand why she would trust this guy and then like
Well, he's Cary Grant. And
I
she's
don't care.
And
like,
she's into mature dudes.
Yeah, but you don't really know him. You don't even really know his name. And then
It's Cary Grant.
yeah, but then you're talking about like actually about being like really serious with each other by the time the film is over, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, they've known each other for like a week, 2 weeks, maybe.
And I can go along with like, you know, suspension of disbelief to a certain point. Like I know like every movie, like, you know, how long is it, you know, taking, and yet characters fall in love and oh, now we're going to be together forever. Okay, fine, whatever. But this guy, like, he misleads her. I don't even know how many times. I don't buy it.
Yeah, interesting. Stanley Donen is you know, he's a celebrated director. He gave us so many things, you know, Singing in the Rain and Funny Face and Seven Brides and just, you know, he's just, you can't criticize him all that much. And I think the directing is good here, but we're at this weird, I guess the budget was only $3 million, which isn't really all that much even for a film in 1963. But it's just like they went, here's a couple flashlights. This is like, I was thinking like, I'd never seen this film until now, but I'd seen clips, and I'm like, oh yeah, that movie that looks like a TV show.
Oh, okay.
You know, all the lighting is super harsh. Even you're in a hotel room in Paris. Why are you casting gigantic shadows on the wall? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's not, his other films aren't like that. So it was just sort of like, yeah, we're just going to like shoot it as best we can, I guess.
That's a good point. Like, Singing in the Rain is like beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the cinematography and the lighting is fantastic.
Yeah. But I don't know. It maybe in just this early 60s, like it was just wash it all out.
Is
just
that
throw a bunch of lights on it.
Realism? Were they trying to make it gritty?
Is the movie gritty?
I don't know.
The movie does a lot.
It does.
You know, we go from people being, well, I guess they're somewhat comedically murdered, but like it's a story about murder.
Yeah, it starts off that way, like before the credits roll.
Yeah,
the guy is murdered,
and yet we've got like, oh, somebody's pointing a gun at her, and it's clearly like an adult hand, not a child's hand, but it was just a water pistol. Which, by the way, I don't know what water pistols were like in '63, but first of all, this water pistol would get him shot on a playground. And second of all,
I know, because it was too realistic.
It's got it's like a fire hose. It's got the best pressure and water
amount. Her face, so what? I know.
But then it's you know, you've got comedy like that, and then you've got comedy like, oh, Cary Grant's going to take a shower in his suit.
Yeah, I know.
It's like you're just throwing everything at the wall. It's so broad.
It's very broad
at times. Also, I want to know how did they turn $250,000 into 3 stamps? Where'd they get the stamps from? The whole point is that the stamps are rare. Converting money into stamps, you have to have the stamps. Like, who had the stamps?
That's
Did they go to 3
question.
stamp collectors that had? Give me a stamp that's worth $100,000.
That's never explained. All we know is so the money was from World War II, and they were supposed to, it was like what, like Nazi gold or something like that.
I don't know if it was Nazi gold, but it was given to them because nowadays it would be Nazi gold. In fact, in The Truth About Charlie, I'm sure it's Nazi gold.
Yeah,
but no, this is just like relief money that they were given to take to like the French Resistance, and they just cashed it out. Basically.
They buried it supposedly.
Yeah, I think it was in gold, but it was, I don't think it was just Cougar Ants or something like that.
Right, and then like Audrey Hepburn's dead husband went and got it, and then like apparently this is what you and I were talking about plot, this.
But if you have like a comment,
how is it like his entire possessions are worth exactly the same amount?
The fact that it's not like he was sitting on the gold.
Right.
He wasn't sitting on $250,000 for like 20 years.
Safekeeping or what have you.
He spent all the money.
He spent all the money, and it was
lived,
also the same.
Lived a life.
Yeah.
Had a apartment in the most high scale
Right.
arrondissement in Paris.
Yes.
And then when everybody was on to him, then he auctioned everything off, and it all came to exactly $250,000.
Yes.
So I don't know.
But somehow didn't sell the apartment or rent the apartment out because she was able to get in and there weren't new people.
Yeah, no,
Anyways.
the real estate, I guess, was worth nothing.
I
Even though that
guess.
real estate would be worth at least $1 million
You would think.
or more, yeah.
Yeah.
And then get into your pajamas and off you go. Everybody dies in their pajamas.
It's weird.
Is this
It's
a joke?
very strange.
Is this
I know.
supposed to be a joke?
I know. I think it is kind of supposed to be a joke. And then we see the police officer talking to Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant, and they're in their PJs, and he was like, after a murder, and he was like, I would change out of my PJs if I were you. So, yeah.
Is that what he did?
He did. Yeah, more or less. I mean, he didn't laugh like that, but yeah.
Well, but he was like, where were you, sir? And he's like, well, I was in bed.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, so was I. And he's like, well, I guess I'll believe you because no one else would try to tell a lie that insane.
I know.
You two were banging.
I know.
Which I think they can't say in 63, but
No, they can't.
Probably being heavily implied.
Yeah.
This movie does a lot. It is
It does.
It is a romantic, funny suspense thriller,
Mm-hmm.
which is just like, yeah, I mean, it's not impossible, but
Yeah.
Isn't this just Roman Holiday though?
I actually was reminded of Roman Holiday while we were watching it.
Only she's not really lying to him.
In Roman Holiday? No.
No, in Roman Holiday, yes, he doesn't know that she doesn't know that he knows.
He
that
knows
she's
the
princess, but she's
That's
not telling
right.
him.
That's right. That's true.
But otherwise, it's kind of similar. It's they end up in a. It's a whole genre. I guess it still exists today, but just of the. It's just another movie with kind of a semi-stock plot, but it's in old world Europe.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then the city or wherever it is.
We're gonna have
like
a
another
chase
character.
through the subway, through the
Right.
metro.
Right.
And then we'll be, hiding behind columns later on. And
I saw Roman Holiday.
give me
a
the
couple-
money.
Right.
You have to give me those stamps.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'll kill you.
Great. I saw Roman Holiday a couple years ago and was kind of like disappointed by it. I think
Wow.
I enjoyed it more than
He
this.
does not
but
like classic films.
no, that I
How about a remake with Vin Diesel
no
in the Cary Grant role
no
and a Lamborghini in the in the Audrey Hepburn role?
no, I don't want that.
Oh.
I'm just saying I don't know why I feel that way. I guess I just wanted more. I want the writing to be stronger, and I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy it.
Well, as long as you have only that to say, then I guess we're all right. Think we can fill another 10 minutes? I can. I could fill an hour. Is her being hungry, is that code for horny?
I don't know.
She's not satisfied by her marriage.
Yeah.
And we meet her having like all the bacon and eggs that they have at this ski resort. Mm-hmm. And then as the movie goes on, she's like Brad Pitt. She's just eating in every scene.
She's eating in like every scene. They have her eating in like every scene.
And somewhere near the end, I don't remember if it was like the dinner on the boat or some point, but at some point she's like, oh, I don't like you. I've lost my appetite. And then he's like, no, it's just this. And she then feels a little better about it. She's like, oh, I could eat a horse. He's like, yeah, I think you ordered one. Like it just seems like when she's more inclined to be amorous with him, she's also gotta eat some stuff.
Oh, I guess I didn't make that connection. I wasn't sure.
There are so many levels in this film that you are not aware of.
Why don't you tell me what I'm not aware
of? Why? And then for a movie that's like, if they were married, they probably have to sleep in separate beds. But then she's like, "Is this heroin?"
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I don't know what $250,000 worth of heroin looks like, but it's probably more than fits in a tooth powder container.
I know. It was weird.
But it's just such a weird left field thing. And then he's like, yeah, minty heroin.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
know.
that. Why don't you just shut up? That's not what it is. Well, let's talk about the stars, if nothing else. Of course, Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn are in it, and they're great.
Yeah.
Walter Matthau, who
Yes.
I feel like he's played a heavy or two before, right? But not usually. It's perfect for a movie that also wants to be a comedy, having him play,
Yes.
the heavy
Yeah.
bad guy. George Kennedy, a guy that you would... He's like one of the ultimate, like, that guy character actors.
Which one was he?
He was the guy with the hook.
Oh, okay.
And
He was very menacing and scary, I thought.
Yeah, although I don't know if they were just shooting it weird. I felt like he had fake teeth, but I guess he has kind of
He
weird
might
teeth.
have had
But anyway.
fake teeth.
But he, Oscar-winning actor for Cool Hand Luke, and then has
I've
just
actually
been...
never seen that. Maybe
I'll
I
put
should
it on
put
your
that
list.
on my list. Yeah.
And been in a ton of other stuff, and then of course he was the police captain in The Naked Gun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen those movies, but yeah. Okay.
And also just he had, played the role on the Police Squad too.
Oh, okay. All right. Very nice.
And I'm trying to think of what else. James Coburn, of course, played Tex.
I liked Tex.
Probably
Tex
one
was
of...
great.
Yeah. That's just... we got to get you turned on to James Coburn, and I'm not sure how to do it.
Okay.
The Flint movies, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I know you and I, we have a certain penchant for weirdo 70s sex symbols, and he's the next guy that has to go on your list.
Oh,
'cause
okay. Besides Elliot Gould.
He's awesome. And Donald Sutherland, yes.
And Donald Sutherland. I do love both those actors.
But yeah, you're going to love James Coburn.
Okay.
Can't wait till we get that going.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I like how the kid was all like, "Are you a real cowboy?" He was like, "I sure am."
that kid was, I don't know, it is what it is. Not great.
Precocious, irritating,
Yeah.
irritating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A little bit.
yeah.
See your line. See it now. Oh, he's over there. Great work. Here's a bonbon. Music by Henry Mancini.
I know that name.
Good. I will give the music some props. Hit up with that crazy, kooky opening credit sequence.
Which was kind of, I guess, should have set the tone for the movie, right?
And I was watching and I was thinking, this isn't Saul Bass. It'd be a little better if it was Saul Bass, but it's what's his name?
I don't know.
Mancini. Well, no, not Mancini. Henry Mancini is the music guy. Maurice Bender.
Okay. But like, we just see a guy get who is murdered and thrown off a train in his PJs, and then we get this like, and I'm like, what are we watching? What are we in for?
Yeah.
You know. So that should have been the first clue. I don't know. I wish I'm mad that I didn't like this more.
Well, take it out on me.
Oh yeah. Why should I take it out on you?
So we can have some content.
Why? What is wrong with me? Why don't I like this more?
I don't know. Why weren't they Nazis?
Oh, the
I know
bad
that
guys?
we're only like,
Yeah,
not
they
even
were
20 years out of World War II.
That might be part of it.
But why weren't, it's her husband is secretly a Nazi. Again, I'm telling you right now, the truth about Charlie is he was probably a Nazi.
Probably.
Although it's not a long way away from World War II, though. But like, why aren't they just all Nazis? Tex isn't a real Texan. Who cares? Her husband was like, a secret Nazi. I mean, he's going to Venezuela at like the beginning of the film.
True. That's true.
They would just all be Nazis with like Nazi gold, right?
Yeah. Well, they were Americans, but they were like evil. So I don't know.
I like that he has to explain to her what the CIA is.
Yeah, and then she calls it the CIO later.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
The AFL.
Well, that actually made me wonder: did everyday people back then, know what the CIA was?
Well, James Bond books have been out since the mid '50s, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, at some point, in '63, Dr. No's already come out. A bunch of things have already come out, like Felix Leiter, the CIA. People have to know who the CIA is.
Okay.
Don't you think?
I don't know. That's why this movie made me question that. I thought that was the truth. So I was just like, okay, you're an expat, and maybe, you don't read the paper every day and you're not like up on what's going on in like government and politics and that sort of thing. But how do you not know who the CIA are? Was kind of my thought.
I guess.
I don't know.
And if you are a guy who's gonna, smother texts with a plastic bag, why not wait till the job's done?
Oh! I see what
so
you're saying.
So he has the time to scratch dial into the carpet.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, when did he wake back up or something? If you have use of your finger, go tear a hole in the plastic bag where your mouth is.
Oh, that's a good point.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
These are just dumb. No, come on. Who cares?
Oh,
these are just nitpicks.
Oh, well, I mean, but if you do have the strength to write somebody's name, you shouldn't you have the strength to tear the plastic bag? I don't know. That actually makes me think maybe yes.
You have to grind your finger into the carpet or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe Mathau just didn't care. He's like, oh, he's writing dial on the carpet.
He would have.
That's right.
Ruined it or
he signed it for me.
Yeah, right.
Now I gotta get my stamps.
Do you think because they show besides Hepburn eating a lot, Mathau's the one who's also eating. Do you think that he was like, I have to sell that this is my office, and the way that I will do that is not only call for my secretary who's not there, but also show her a picture of my kids who aren't my kids, and also offer her food and wine that I pull ready-made from a closet somewhere.
In a cupboard, there's just a basket of sandwiches.
Nobody thinks that's weird. Like, wouldn't you just have them out on on your desk?
Chicken
already?
or liverwurst?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's a real Oscar move there.
Yeah, right.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Although in researching or just looking around about this film, I learned about another film called Paris When It Sizzles from 1964,
Whoa.
which is Audrey Hepburn and William Holden. So I don't think that there is a murder spy aspect to it, but it's like I just want to see Audrey Hepburn just being rotated between all the overaged, middle-aged,
I think that's
male actors.
That's gonna happen. Yeah. I mean, I love her wardrobe in this too. I thought it was great. Do you think that she had?
She had those 2 suitcases, but how much is in those suitcases?
I know.
Suitcases.
I mean, dresses, hats, you name it. She had everything. And I know she was known to be fairly fashionable. Do you think that she had an influence on what she wore in films?
Possibly.
Or did they?
They
just
made
think...
a point of saying that all of her wardrobe was by Givenchy, so it was she was kind of a clothes horse.
Yeah. Okay. I think. I was just gonna say. I think that Cary Grant. It seemed like he kind of was letting his hair grow gray a little bit in this film. Do you think? Cary
Grant?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. But he looked good. It looked good, I thought.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really have a choice. That's a lot of Vitalis or
Grecian formula.
Grecian formula.
Yeah, right, exactly.
All right, we're done. Okay. Let's talk about the film that I selected for this show. It's a pair of films from the 60s.
Yes.
The one that I picked was from 1968, I believe, and it's called The Lion in Winter.
Yes.
Now, you tell people what The Lion in Winter is about.
The Lion in Winter, it takes place it follows the royal family, and it takes place in England in the 1100s. And King Henry, it's over the Christmas holiday, and King Henry needs to basically choose which of his 3 sons is going to be the next in line for king.
Right.
He, throughout the film, he kind of wavers one way or another. Also, his wife, who they are estranged, he has her imprisoned in a separate castle, is also there, and they are making each other miserable. Also, his mistress is there, and he's threatening to marry her to one of his sons, and everybody...
Like you do.
What was that?
Like you do.
Yeah, like you do. And everybody is miserable and making each other miserable.
It's King Lear meets Virginia Woolf.
Pretty much. That's a good way of putting it.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent.
Which is Virginia Woolf.
There you go.
That's from the 60s, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, some future show. Yeah, that's fine.
That's
I
more
guess
or
you
less
did okay.
it, right?
Yes. Excuse me. 1968.
Oh, you
Peter
got that?
O'Toole, Katharine Hepburn,
Yes.
Anthony Hopkins,
Yes.
a little tiny baby Timothy Dalton.
I know.
Who, by the way, this is probably one of the most celebrated. This is probably one of the best films we've done on the show.
Probably.
Doesn't matter
Yes.
what you think of it, and you can tell me in a second. But yeah, I mean, this is just a classic based on a play from around the same time, adapted by the author. So hit
Nice.
play on Broadway, goes to hit movie in Hollywood.
Well, I think they did a good job at the adaptation, which we've talked about other plays that were adapted into film, and it doesn't always go super well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point. And so Katharine Hepburn, this is the year that she won Best Actress, but she split it with Barbra Streisand for Funny Girl.
She split it?
Yeah, they were tied in votes. I don't think we would
Has
ever...
that ever
And
happened?
Well, I think after this, they took steps to make sure that wouldn't happen again. But
Did she win for this film?
Yeah.
Very nice.
But she won the year before, too, for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. So.
Oh.
So come at me, Bobwa.
Yeah.
And it's just a classic film based on, a version of probably what happened in real life. King John is, of course, the king that will be giving Robin Hood so much trouble.
Yeah,
a
and
little
Richard
later.
was off on the Crusades. Right.
Well, Richard, yeah, I mean, they didn't overlap. Like, Richard, died, and then John became king.
Oh,
But John
okay. In the Disney...
exercised a lot, yeah, well, and in the Kevin Costner, too. But
Right.
John exercised a lot of power at home when Richard was away, but he wasn't, really king.
Gotcha.
The king thing is weird because they keep talking about the other Henry in this, the oldest
died.
son. Yeah,
I
who
don't
died
know how old he
this
was.
year. The year that 1183, when this is set, is when he died.
Oh,
and
really?
he was crowned, the young king, basically, like co-king. It's something that they used to do when they were worried about issues of succession. When you've got 3 or 4 very powerful sons who are all kind of have their eye on the thing, you just
Yeah.
go, this guy's the guy.
Yeah.
We're going to be co-CEOs.
Sure.
And Henry would stick around for a while after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, he died, and so it sort of threw all of this into
Do you
a
know
little
what
bit
he
of chaos.
died from?
What a great question that I don't
Sorry.
have the answer to.
I'm sorry.
He probably died from being rebellious because, Eleanor is in jail basically as the movie starts.
Yeah.
And she and Henry the Young King schemed a lot against Dad. And so
Well, she schemed with just about all of
there
her
was
children.
a little
but
bit
yeah.
of rebellion going on.
Gotcha.
And so they were trying to sort of put things to rest and get rid of the estrangement around the time that Henry the Young King died. But that's what we got.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so that's where we are. Everybody hates each other.
Yep.
I kept thinking of I've seen this a couple times. I kept thinking of Arrested Development memes while we were watching the film.
Yes.
I don't care for Jeffrey.
I think that works really well.
Yeah, but it's
Nobody seems to care for Jeffrey.
yeah. I'm not sure if every sun maps perfectly onto a
No.
blue sun, but it's awfully close. It's a little weird situation to have the king's girlfriend be engaged to just about everybody at one point in the film.
Yep.
This is like one of those things where, and this still kind of exists, but I just think that maybe, I don't want to go, old movies are better, but very few films today care about crafting dialogue the way that this
Oh my God.
does.
Just amazing. Like I've seen this once way back in high school, and I remember liking the film, but I didn't remember a whole lot about it. I think my favorite part of watching it in high school was the character John, because he's ridiculous. And he is like a caricature. And I just was like, oh my God. And I just like, I can't even handle you. But just watching it this time, I really appreciated the dialogue a lot. It is so clever and so witty. Charade wishes it was this witty. Like,
Charade's pretty witty.
I guess I just didn't.
There's a lot of good jokes about how this small woman eats a lot of food.
Yeah, I know. but I just, it's written really well. The characters, I think, are really well defined. They play off of each other really well.
Should we talk about some of them?
Yeah.
Just before you get to the end of your review, we've got 15 minutes left.
I'm not ending the review.
Let's break it down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, Katharine Hepburn is amazing.
What blows me away about Katharine Hepburn is that she's like the real deal.
She's an amazing actress.
But if you go back to like the Philadelphia story, like there are a lot of actresses who are like, "Hey Joe, what do you know?" And when movies were just like that, and then we get to like the beginnings of, I mean, this is still in the historical drama Camelot sort of area, but like when we get into sort of the American New Wave, and it's like, no, you're gonna like, you're going to scratch your butt and you're going to, the naturalistic Brando acting, things are going to be different. We're going to need like naked emotion from you. And she can just deliver. It's not like she's just like an old timey actress. Like she could do everything. And she remained relevant, throughout her career, which was kind of cut short, unfortunately. But like, yeah, I mean, she's it. And in a movie where Peter O'Toole is also just slaying it.
Yeah.
And Anthony Hopkins is doing great. I still think that Timothy Dalton should have gotten like a nomination or something, but I think he was too gay for people. Do you know what I mean? They have this whole subplot, which I think I think as like his historical studies have gone on, people are like, these two probably weren't in a relationship. Mm-hmm. But scholars thought that for a while because they were close. Because there were other sort of rumblings about Richard, having both male and female lovers.
Sure.
That it became like headcanon that he and Philip, number 2, had a thing.
Right.
And so this movie steers into that. And I think it's done sensitively. Nobody's mad that anybody's, gay or bisexual or whatever.
No.
But when you can't nominate a guy for playing a bisexual, right? Put that on TV.
Well,
give him an award.
This is the thing that that bothered. I mean, this is his point of view of what happened, or at least how he told it to the king.
But he's being manipulative.
I know he is.
Yeah.
He's basically saying that Richard took advantage of me when I was a young boy of 15. Is basically what he's saying.
Well, 15 is you're not really a boy in medieval times. You're already a man.
I guess
there's no statute of limitations.
Yeah,
or not,
I know.
Whatever.
I know, but that's what he insinuates. So it's like, and then like Richard. So many great lines in this. Like Philip, they all go to Philip's room at this one scene, and
thanks for derailing me.
Sorry,
trying to talk about homophobia. You want to tell a tapestry joke? Go ahead.
I just want to tell it really quick, and then we can go right back to it.
Yeah, moments pass.
Hey, I just can we hide behind the tapestry? That's what they're for. I mean, that's a great line.
They all know how to hurt each other in the best family way possible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I have. She loves twisting the knife that she might have done it with his dad.
Yeah,
which we don't know if it's true or not.
No.
But we know that it's important to her to see him suffer, and so that's going to be the party line, whether or not it's true.
Yeah.
What do you think that she? I mean, I guess she says this essentially, but do you think it was really all about rejection for her? Like she really loved him, or at least wanted him to love her, and that's what motivated everything? Because that's a real petty, regressive female motivation for something.
It's hard to... Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it's hard to say because everybody in this... I'm trying to think. I don't know that anybody is ever completely honest the entire time. You know what I mean? So, everybody's manipulating everybody and saying what they want to get, saying something to get what they want. So it's hard to tell. Sometimes I feel like she really loved him and she's really upset about this, and so she's going to hurt him. But other times I think that that's not the case. And I wonder, they talk about their past, and I wonder if they were ever happy besides right after they just met and started
when
being
they
together.
shattered the commandments
right
on the spot.
Yes, exactly. Besides then, and like they started having a family, like did they just start drifting apart right away? Were they always kind of awful with each other? Were the fights always kind of vicious? Did that sort of develop over time? And he says, you were beautiful, but he never really says that I love you or I loved you,
Well, I mean, the power of sex is constantly on display.
Yes.
In this, and that's ballsy for 1968. You know what I mean?
And it's rated PG.
Yeah, man, but it's it's rated
not,
PG for
nothing
adult
visually
situations.
racy.
No.
Yeah.
No, we are treated to a visual picture of Eleanor, when she was with Philip. Was it Philip the First, the French king? And no, Louis. She went on crusades with him.
Yeah,
they dressed her courtiers in Amazon garb and rode horseback stripped to the waist.
Yes,
and she almost died of windburn, but the troops were dazzled.
I know. And then, like, later, she's in her room talking to herself.
Yeah, but then again, but it's another thing about vanity. She's
yes.
looking in the mirror and she's like, "I got my jewelry. I'm pretty."
Yeah, and then she's like, holds up like this necklace, and she's like, "I'd thank you for my breast, but it would horrify the children or scandalize the children." Yeah, it's like, wow. It's like, wow. But you get the feeling that I don't know. I feel like regardless if they ever really loved each other, they definitely really care for each other.
Well, yeah.
Don't you think? Because even
it
ends.
It ends. Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, right. But it's weird because it could just be we're all characters with historical characters' names, and then it's kind of what it is. Like, and we're gonna just do a Virginia Woolf type thing where it's like we are bound by family and by our obligations as rulers, administrators, and so those things push us apart. But there isn't there's a weird amount of detail towards the historical situation. It doesn't just smooth over that part so we can get to the good lines like, "I'm vilifying you, for God's sake, pay attention."
Yeah, right.
That's all like a big part of it, and you have to you don't have to. You can just sit back and enjoy the wash of like amazing acting and the great lines. But
yes,
you have to kind of pay attention to the maneuverings. Okay, so this person's going to be with this person, but I want it to be this person. And you got the three sons who are all going to mom, being like, "Mom, I want to be king." And she's like, "All right, we're going to take care of this."
Right.
And then we do the fake out wedding where he's like, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to marry my girlfriend to Richard."
I know.
Like, was he actually going to go through with it?
I don't think he actually was.
Because it doesn't go through.
Calling with their bluff.
But then later it's the biggest bluff of all because he's like, "I had you the whole time. Man, it's great to be king. Yeah. Oh, boy, I'm really winning this thing." And it's like, Henry, you are just cruising on your own supply here. You think that you are going to win this thing, but you don't know that you are. But you can't show anybody any weakness.
Well, let me ask you this. So he, like, at the end of the film, he's like, I'm gonna, basically says to Eleanor, his wife, I'm getting remarried. I'm gonna go ask the Pope right now for an annulment. Blah 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 blah. And like he wakes everybody up, gets everybody ready. We're doing this tonight. We're leaving tonight.
Yeah, if the king's off his ass, nobody sleeps.
Right. Yeah, which is another great line. But do they actually? I mean, they don't go that night. Do they actually go to the Pope and get married and get an annulment?
I don't know.
Well, but okay, within the realm of this story, does that happen? I don't know about real
I don't
life.
think it does.
Okay.
Because he's strung her out for this long. He promises everything to everybody, and
I feel bad for her, honestly, Alice.
Yeah, but she. Speaking of Shakespeare and King Lear, which they call out at the beginning of the film, let me tell you about a man named King Lear.
Honestly, isn't it better to call it out right away? So it's like,
yeah, apparently, James Goldman thought so. But he goes to Alice
Yes.
Which is not, it's spelled differently. Like,
it is.
But it's Alice.
It looks like Elise or something like it's A-L. There's
Well, she's
S's.
French. Yeah.
There's S's instead of C.
And he's like, all right, we're going to do this thing. Let's do it. This is what I want to do. And she's like, okay, well, you have to kill your sons. And it's like, whoa, Lady Macbeth, where'd you come from?
I know.
You're supposed to be this sweet little lady. But she makes a very good point, which is that something, the question of timing. Henry's worried about his legacy. He's worried about dying. He's 50, which
I
guess that's not that old, but he does say that he's like the oldest guy he knows. And so there's this question of timing. Like he needs. That's why they don't talk about this in the play, but that's why they made Henry the young king, because he was worried about his legacy going forward. And he talks about all these decisions that he's going to make that won't take effect until he dies. And so he'll never see the outcome of those decisions. So he wants to lock it down and make sure he makes all the right decisions. And so he's worried about that. And that's why we have this crisis about like, he feels like he's raised John the way that he wants a king to proceed. And so that's why he's his best, even though, yeah, Richard likes fighting a little too much, but Richard is a much stronger figure, and nobody wants Geoffrey to be king because it's just the rebirth of Machiavelli, who actually hasn't been born yet, but don't worry about it. Nobody wants that, and so he's got all these things to worry about. But then we bring in this new angle, which is whatever you do, if we have a child, a son, he won't be, he will be in single digits when you die, and then I'm screwed. Because one of your 3 kids is going to come out and like kill him and do who knows what to me, and so I'm being a little cold here, but you gotta kill your kids,
right?
Or just leave them in the dungeon forever.
Well, I think it's interesting, like you said, that like here she is supposed to be like the sweet innocent person, and she suggests this, but when he was telling Eleanor previously, like just before this scene, that this is what he wanted to do, she flat out told him, your sons are not going to let that happen. They're going to try to kill your new kid. Right. She did tell him that. Yeah. But it's like, it didn't, I don't think that reality sunk in.
Coming from Eleanor, though, it's like, all right.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And when he heard it from Alice, he's like, oh, crap.
Yeah, so it's like, how do we wrap this up? Family knife fight.
I know.
In the basement.
I know.
He pulled the knife on me. He's got a knife. We all have knives. It's 1183.
That was a great line, too.
Yeah. I would say that, like, you can't, unless you're going to do, like, historical fiction or magical realism or whatever, it kind of has to end the way it does, which is nothing really happens because everybody goes on with their lives until other things happen in real life. But so that was, like, the one kind of disappointing thing to me, is that it definitely reaches, like, an emotional climax, but the emotional climax is just a mirror of a climax that we've seen 2 or 3 times already, which is Henry and Eleanor scream at each other. Yep. They both accuse each other of like forsaking them as a partner or whatever. And that's just kind of what the last scene is too. So it isn't like anything like really new or... No, you're right. Well, and then like, I kind of, did you get the sense, maybe that you just said this, that they didn't really know how to end it satisfactory? I think they knew how. They just thought this will be the biggest argument they have. But it's like they've kind of had these arguments. But I mean, like
when he says goodbye to her on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, we are laughing. We are having fun.
But they're happy now because drama recharges their electrolytes.
Yeah, weren't right.
The thing starts off and everybody's like, no, I don't know, it's just winter. And then they get them all together. They throw sparks off of each other. And now they're ready to do something.
Yeah. Take on the world from my imprisoned castle.
There's great candle continuity in this.
Yeah. Well, I liked that the candles had Roman numerals on them, so like you could tell like how
ostensibly
was
to
that
count,
like how
to count
long?
Off the hour.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's why I'm saying that there's good continuity. Because,
there is.
Well, let me tell you why, because you don't seem to understand. Because this all happens over the course of like a day or two, and that the long day when they're all up late at night and they're going to Philip's and everybody's at Philip's place and they come out and then she's playing with the jewelry. These all happen in successive hours.
Yes.
So by the time they get to Philip's, it's 11 p.m. and there's I don't know if they would do this, but because I guess you don't do 24-hour time, but whatever. There's the candles down to XI or whatever, and then I guess they switch the candles because later on we go to Eleanor's and it's back to III.
Yeah. Right.
They probably didn't do that in real life, did they?
I don't know.
It seems complicated.
I don't know. It does seem complicated. It seems like very rigorous timekeeping for your candles. But
what time is it? It's 1 a.m. I'm here to change your time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like you're at a restaurant and they come and they put all the little votive candles out,
Yeah. Whoa! It must be it must be dinner time.
Yeah, right.
Just started. Yeah, it feels kind of like that.
Yeah.
What
I
else
thought
you got?
the costumes I thought were cool, realistic looking, and I think that they introduced the sons really well. I think you got like a pretty good sense of who they are from their introductions at the beginning. Like, Henry is doing a sword fight with John, and it's going okay at first, but then like John basically does John lose, or does like Henry let him win? I don't even remember which it is, but like John just looks goofy, and he's like, "Oh, you did good. You're going to be a great king," and it's like, really, this guy, this is the guy. And then we see Richard doing like lancing, and like it's not enough that he knocked this guy off of his horse. He's about to stab this guy, and he might have just killed him if his father hadn't sent somebody to summon him to the castle.
Yeah.
And then we see Jeffrey, I don't know, just swarming some troops. I don't even know what's going on there. He's just looking smug on a cliff.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I think that set everybody up pretty well. So
yeah, there were. I don't know how much this cost. Actually, I do. It was $4 million. Wow, man, budgets were not a lot back then.
No,
the lighting and they're shooting in castles, real castles, by the way.
Yeah,
the lighting is so much better than Charade. So we see where the million went. It also might have went to a couple horses, because there are like huge scenes in this film, like huge battle scenes.
Yeah.
Well, there's one huge battle scene, and then you don't. Sure, when you're just talking to Eleanor or something, and it's Henry, I don't know. That could have been on a set. That didn't have to be in the castle necessarily. But there are all these. What was the dog budget on this film? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. There were a lot of dogs.
There are so many dogs.
So many dogs.
But there's all these courtyard scenes, and you've got peasants running around doing stuff, and they got the banquet scene, and there's like 100 extras, and so they really went all out.
Yeah, like that scene at the end where it's like complete chaos, and like Henry's like, "I'm gonna go to Italy. I'm gonna see the Pope." There's so many people in that, like cooking and cleaning and prepping, everything.
Get the dogs.
Right. You pluck that chicken. Pluck it faster.
Yeah, just keep plugging. Yeah, they really went for it.
Mm-hmm. They did.
How do we run out of things to say about this film?
I don't know. I really I just was reminded, like I really enjoyed this film. And just fantastic acting, really well written, great story. Like you said, a little weak at the end there, but I did kind of find myself laughing at the we are laughing part at the end, even though it's like, wow, this is ridiculous, but here I am laughing at it.
What did you think about, this is a good question, what did you think about O'Toole playing Henry?
Yeah.
And being almost 30 years younger than Katharine Hepburn? I don't know what the age difference was between Aquitaine and Henry in real life, although she was already the Queen of France.
She probably was older than
him. Yeah. But she's playing her age. She might be playing a little younger than her age, but he was 36, I think.
That's pretty young.
So, yeah.
How old was Anthony Hopkins in this? I wonder.
That's a great question. He's about the same age as Peter O'Toole.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Very young Anthony Hopkins. I was trying to think when I was watching this if I've seen him in a role younger than this. I don't know that I have. And I know he's somebody, I've always heard that he's somebody who found fame later in life. Yeah, here he is in this huge film that has been lauded for a very long time. So it's not like he was just doing the theater for like decades and decades of his life, and then stardom. He was doing stuff. So
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't doing... This was like his second movie, I think. So,
Okay, sure.
I mean, he did come to movies, later in his acting career.
Sure.
But he played Claudius in Hamlet in 1969.
Sure, yeah.
So he, opposite... oh, my God.
I don't know.
I can't remember who was... I think Marianne Faithfull was in that one. I can't remember who played Hamlet or what, but yeah, I mean, he's been working like consistently since the late 60s.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I knew that was true, but for whatever reason, I don't think that when I was in high school I realized that was Anthony Hopkins, so I didn't know that like he actually was in films prior to like say right before or Silence of the Lambs. You know what I mean? Like he's been doing this really long. He's been doing films. Maybe he wasn't like a big name before, but
find the longest way to say that. Oh, you did. Yeah, he was like 40, I think, when he played C.S. Lewis in Shadowlands.
Never seen that.
No, that's not 40. That'd be 60. No, it'd be late 50s. And the point I'm getting at is, like a Max von Sydow, for example.
Yeah.
He's somebody who has been playing old
for a long time.
Gotcha. Until he just became old.
Yeah. There are certain actors that are like that you sympathize.
Well, I always got the old.
But
roles.
you don't look old. That's the strange thing.
No. Once I started acting with adults, I started getting leading parts as an adult.
Right.
But in a world where carpenters are resurrected, anything's possible. Pretty much it. We got anything else to say?
No, I definitely recommend this film. That's all I have to say.
Well, good. I'm
Yeah.
glad we watched it. We're going to be watching more movies in the future, and please continue to join us. And until then, lay it on them.
Stay healthy, be safe, and wear your mask.
That's it. I guess those are good. That's good advice. But
what am I supposed to say?
I don't know.
Okay.
You just say something clever so we can.
Something clever goes here.
A real Gracie Allen over here.
I know.
All right.
Maybe that should be my angle.
Well,
I'm not very funny.
you work on that angle.
Okay.
We're out.